Okay, so this video is about the high level discussion, or you can say it as like the brainstorming, or even you can consider the low level discussion of our organized simple. So kind of understanding the requirements, how do we go ahead to design a systems, or how do we go ahead about building an applications. Okay, so here let's just I just wanted to this is going to be about the organize simple. Okay, so here I just wanted to understand how really things take shape, and then we see that in the tangible form of a product, in the form of web application or the app, or it can be desktop application, or whatever you just assume, whichever is having a client interface or something like that, or whatever the server. It's all about system building. So here first it's very important to understand what is it that your application is going to serve the need, or what is its main motto or the purpose. So in my case here I see here the main purpose is first of all what is the requirement, or what is the user should be able to do when he kind of comes to our application. So briefly I mean, this is again vague. Again, every requirements discussion will always be in a nascent phase. Okay, never ever it's going to be perfect. It's all about trying to build iteratively, step by step, and figuring out which way is the best one to go ahead. Okay, so first I just wanted to here write some requirements. Okay, so the requirements that we are trying to target here is first of all, here let me just as a let's just okay, so here uh, as a user he should be able to login. Okay, so login to our application, that is going to be pretty much standard. Okay, so login. Okay, so once logged in, okay, he should be able to upload a file. Okay, I mean file either can be a single or multiple, again depends upon the constraints we discuss, or assumptions that we fit in while we are trying to design. Upload files. Okay, so that is the thing. And then again so main thing is as a user you should be able to log in, and once logged in you should be able to upload files to our thing. Then talk to our the first is the face which was the text recognition services. Okay, uh, and process this. Okay, so this is one step, and same thing. Okay, so here I'm just going to, here it's going to be now the data extraction phase. I mean the schema that we wanted. Okay, so you should be able to go through this process as well. Okay, and finally the verify. Okay, so I mean verify the thing. So if you wanted to double check whatever the things happened in the about text recognition or the data extraction, he has to be able to process this. Okay, so this is like the high level process. I mean the okay, so here this is the high level the things that we should be able to do it. Okay, so once this is I mean, so here let's just try to move to the different section. So okay, so once we have this requirements, okay, fine. Now here the things. Okay, so here next is, okay, once he has uploaded, so we should be able to have a pages. Okay, so again this is, I don't know whether this is the standard way, or like again I would say it's all depend upon the way which really works better for us. The only thing matters is, will you be able to deliver the product that you have promised in a stipulated amount of time that you have given to the to a particular stakeholder. Okay, so now the pages, so as we discussed in the above process, so we should somehow have the UI or something like to showcase each process. Okay, assume in this now, let's say like mainly obviously, okay, so the let's say a dashboard. Okay, so dashboard, and for each process you assume one of the page. Okay, I'm not going to write, I know this is going to be very worst way of writing or whatever I'm trying to showcase, but here the gist is like trying to showcase the thought process that you'll have to go through while building a product. Okay, so assume like these are the each process and all. So at a high level, at least now we got the gist of like what's the core of our application. Okay, so login and able to upload, then process through each process and have a way to see showcase to the user the files sitting in each process. And then let's say now here we are targeting, now in this case it is mainly that I'm targeting it to the three categories. Okay, so here the categories that I'm targeting is to three categories. Okay, so one is for the receipts. Okay, and other is for the invoices. Okay, and the last thing is like card statements. Okay, so now again here there should be way to classify the data extracted from our documents into each of these three uh, categories. Okay, fine. So the above pages was to showcase let's say a dashboard, it's pretty common. Okay, then the text recognition, data extraction, verify, that's to showcase process. Okay, after having successfully completed all of those phases, okay, those will never be part of our dashboard. I mean those will sit into it will not be in like those are the files which are in the process. We'll again have to have a sections where into which bucket or which category that file process was finally put into or finally processed. So I would say what I'm trying to explain here is like again this each page, it's each category, it's going to be a one page. Okay, so here again a page is one, again this is going to be page. Okay, so now at least imaginatively visualization of our application is done. So login page. Okay, and then coming into the obviously it's going to be dashboard, and then somehow the view to upload a file. Okay, and showcasing a way that in which process that file is going on, and also have a sections or pages to view the documents present in each phase or process, and finally view the results into particular categories. Okay, so at least you understood the now the at least the UI part, the pages, or the thinking from the end user perspective, what is it that our application should be able to serve to the user. Okay, and finally, okay, so here once we have this, okay, so and also let's say here obviously we should provide a way for the user to delete his account, or to choose some of your preferences for our application, or also way to log out from our application, some all. Okay, again that is going to be a one more page. Okay, I could say something like settings page. Okay, something like that. Okay, so at a high level this is what I'm trying to say sums up our pages or the components, the main thing that we'll want to worry about. Okay, this is just like high level discussion. Okay, this is what if I'm able to fulfill all this section, then I would say our application is completely decent enough to be put out into market, or to be consumed by end user, something like that. Okay, so that was like roughly if I wanted to put into the let's say the flow diagram. Okay, let's say, okay, so this is going to be the let's say the user. Okay, then he logs in. Okay, so he tries to logs into application. Okay, here like login or something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to user logs in. Okay, then he tries to, okay, so I can just have here this is going to be bigger dashboard. So this I'm just again this will have subsections like I mentioned. Okay, so all of those page okay, I think it's pretty way, I mean, if you want I can just, okay, so I'll just draw roughly. Okay, so again this will have each subsections like I explained, but this is okay, this is the gist. Okay, so fine, now okay, let's uh, break into part by part. Okay, so first he comes and tries to upload a file. Okay, so here I'm just trying to break it to file. Okay, so let's say breaking first uh, break or first component. Okay, you can just take it in this way. Okay, I know my explanation might be pretty vague, but I'm trying to be as best as I can. Okay, I'll improve over the period of time. Okay, so here the first point I wanted to like file upload. Okay, fine, this is good. Okay, assume that you're taking the file. So this is where, okay, you take a file. Where are you planning to put that file into? Okay, are you planning to use some cloud storage to store that file? Okay, so okay, fine, let's say in our case we have decided to go for AWS S3. Okay, let's say I just have a somehow code already in place and I'm just trying to put the file into bucket. Now somehow I should be able to track that file upload into my DB or somewhere, have a connection to that file ID or something like that, so that I should be able to retrieve. Okay, that is file upload. And also here we should have an endpoint or something like talking about the controllers or whatever the services that we wanted to. Okay, so first thing, again always the application development will always be segregated or broke down into components like the backend. Okay, and so this is going to be pretty standard jargon. Okay, so the front end. Okay, and and then some again not to worry about this DevOps related stuff and all. So here first let's worry about this backend. As I said, so I'm not going to here talk about the technology selection and why not, why this and why not that. Again that's again it'll go too much into depth. Okay, so here as I said, I'll have some pieces of code into backend. So here I have segregated to have a backend in the form of like two controllers or whatever you can say, two sections or two services, whatever. So I have decided somehow like I should be able to read the content out of the file. Okay, and somehow I should be able to return you the organized data or the schema or the JSON structure that you're expecting to be returned from the models. Okay, so assuming I receive file. Okay, let's say raw file from the user, or else the URL of your cloud stored file. So since we are assuming that we'll be putting the file into S3, so now somehow if I receive input the file URL of that remote file URL, or else the raw file binary file, I should be able to return text from that file binary file or from that remote URL. Okay, so backend part. Okay, so breaking down, so I'm just going to focus now on this is going to be only the backend. Okay, so as I said, here I have decided to go for two controllers. Okay, so here one for like let's say roughly something like parsing. Okay, and another for returning some organized data or something like that. Okay, so here I'm just going to explain what the each purpose is. Okay, so here now this is where as I said, okay, given a binary file or the URL file, I should be able to return a text. Okay, this is the segregation of the I mean responsibilities of each controller of each services. Okay, somehow since I'm expecting, so you can have one endpoint where it takes the file as the input and returns the text out of that. Okay, this I can just say it as like endpoint 1. Okay, and then URL as an input. Okay, and then it returns the text. Okay, and this is going to initially let's just be as simple as possible. Okay, so this assuming this is the core responsibility of this controller or service. Okay, so fine. So now the organized data section. So what is its main purpose, or what is that we are trying to accomplish in this section? Okay, so in here so here I'm just going to put in here. So somehow I written in so here we should be, so whatever the text that I we return from this parsers, okay, whatever. So this main purpose of this parsers was to return the text given a file, or the URL of the file. So this organized data main purpose is to take in that text as an input and somehow return the schema that I'm expecting. It can be in the JSON object structure, depending upon to each your category. In our case it's for receipt, and invoice and card statement. Okay, so here this can be like one endpoint. Okay, so I'm just going to say here E1 as representing endpoint. Okay, so here returning a JSON from the text that we feed in. Okay, it can be again the JSON that whatever the properties you want it to give you. Okay, you can just define that. So that's one endpoint. Okay, and the other is like analyzing. Okay, so as I said, we wanted to double verify if the schema or if the data that I've received is apt or not. Okay, so again something like endpoint 2, so you can just say it as like analysis. Okay, so here this tries to give me the deviations from the JSON schema that I was expecting and the actual JSON schema that it has given me. Okay, so I can just say here JSON expected versus the JSON given. Okay, uh, comparisons. Okay, so I can just say it as comparisons. Okay, so that is the main purpose of that the endpoint 2. Okay, so you can take that. And since we want the categorization identification into our section, so in our case it's receipts, invoices, card statements. Again endpoint 3, something like passing in the text should be able to give the category of our so here I'm just going to name this as something like classification. So the purpose of is to taking the text as input and return me the category that it belongs to. Okay, and so again if you want you can just have some testing example as the input. Okay, so I can just say something endpoint 4 and all. So generic the example test. Okay, or the output. Okay, so roughly, so I would say like this is the like the backend controllers for now I would keep in my whatever thing I'm trying to build. Okay, so this is like controllers part. Okay, I know I might be very vague here and not be very precise, but down the line, while I'm trying to showcase you building, you will understand at least why this discussion was at least held. Okay, so yeah, that was the controllers part and all. Okay, so now okay, so here the very important thing is like how data flows into our application. So how are we keeping track of the results that we are getting in each process, or whatever the user is trying to feed in, and how are we restoring that data and all. So here mainly I just wanted to focus on the DB or the schema structure of our thing. So as I said again, this is let's just give the title for this as DB schema. Okay, main DB schema. So this again depends upon where we are going to handle. So it can be all in the backend, or it can be part of the front end that I can use the Prisma to store. Again depends upon our choices. So, but the gist it's going to remain the same. So here as I said, it will be in various stages. The file it's going to be in various stages. Okay, simple and straightforward way of thinking to keep track of the status or the stages that it is in. So here let's name this something like status. Okay, so here the status that it is going to be, let's just name this to be, so I'm just going to choose here. So as I said, okay, once he uploads a file, okay, the first phase that we are planning to is to recognize, to recognize the content in the file. Okay, so I would say something like, that as one enum or one stage. Okay, to recognize is one phase. Okay, then once we recognize the text from that, it's like, extract the data that we want, or the structure that we wanted in the JSON schema or in the JSON format with a particular keys and values and all. So next process that we wanted to keep track of is like, to extract. Okay, this is again one more phase. Okay, so we will know that, okay, this is in this phase. Okay, and next is, as I said, to double verify and cross verify if the JSON that we received, again this is in that phase. So if everything is completed, and we should okay, again we can say it like, completed phase or a processed phase. Okay, so I am just going to have in here this process phase. Okay, this is one like, status enum or whatever you can just keep track of. Okay, so once we I mean the main core table where we wanted to store all of the details is like, I'm just going to have this like, this, let's just have this something like, I'm just going to name this to be something like, extraction. Okay, so here what is it that we are going to store? So obviously there will be user table and also I'm not going into each and every table everything, so but I'm just going to give the high level idea of this. So this is going to, obviously any file will have this unique id, so leave about that. Okay, id of this record. And here whatever the user is trying to upload this file thing, so that file name will be storing in, we'll be storing in that. Okay, and then the object path. Okay, so this is going to be something like, the path that of the s3 url you can take it. Okay, for here that reference here, the path here will be stored here. And also the this extraction is in which phase. Okay, again this will be somehow linked to the status table and all. Okay, so in which phase this current file it is in. Okay, and then the what is the category that was identified by talking to our classification services and all, again that has to be, kept to track of somehow in this extraction table. Okay, and what was the, text identified from this file that we got from our, to recognize section. Okay, and then the, JSON. Okay, what was the, output that we got from this, data extraction phase, that the JSON schema that we expected from that, that has to be stored here somehow. Again this is going to take care of that, storing. Okay, and then again if it is a category, if it's in a receipt, relation to the each of the category. Okay, again as I mentioned. Okay, so I'm not going to go into depth. Okay, this will have the okay, so let me so this is going to be again a receipt table. Again each category will have its own table, and again their children to have sub items to will have their respective children. Like let's say receipt will have some items, food dishes and all, that will have one more table and all. So at high level I'm just going to say this is like, the receipt. Okay, this is going to be the invoice, and this is going to be the card statements. Okay, so again we will take care of what fields will go into it while we are developing it. Okay, if the category is belonging to particular receipt or the invoice or card statement. Okay, so that has to store the respective information. So if it's let's say it's a receipt. Okay, it has to store relation or details related to that in here. Same applies to, so we can make this as optional, same applies to other categories as well. So if it is belonging to, okay, and to which user this file is belonging to, again the mapping to that. Here I'm just going to add in this user table. Okay, so here user table again this will have something like, basically is id name. Okay, so I'll just mention those things as well. So assuming okay, so here this is the user. Okay, so here obviously unique id, so the username, okay, and the password, okay, hashed password, something like that. And now here, how many extractions does this user have? So it will be like, list of extractions. So list of extractions, again it will be many one to many relations, so user can have many extractions. So relation to this extraction table, so that will be again extraction. So again how many receipts he has, again this will be like, many one to many relation to that receipts table. Same applies to other invoices sections, card statements and all. And finally the we'll have the preferences as well. So whenever user is trying to have the selections for the models that he wanted to have. I know this is, I'm not representing it correctly, but I'm just trying to give you the overview of our application. Okay, so here let's just say this is like, preferences, okay, which is going to store the preferences model selections of the user. Okay, let's say he has chosen for each like let's say extraction model the selection name, okay, and classify model name, okay, and analysis model name, okay, and other selections that we wanted to keep track of. So we can just map this to like what was the preferences of user. Okay, so this is the at a to put this is how we iteratively, incrementally keep on building our schema or tables and go. Right at the beginning we'll not have anything completely shaped out. Okay, it will always be bits and parts. Again, keep building and figuring out, this is not the good way, and this is a that's how we build applications. Okay, so we have this at least the overview of how we wanted to be built off. Okay, and I just gave you the gist of the pages that we wanted to talk about. Okay, so I know this was not very helpful in the visually I was explaining in the uh, points or flow and all, but this is the gist how it's going to be built. Okay, and from next video onwards you will see the complete building from scratch, where we'll pick up first the complex parts, the backend parts, and have all at least tested services in place. And then we will shift our focus onto front end, integrating the services and slowly building the components and handling all form imports, and then validation stuff, state managements, handling API calls and all. So that's how it's going to be. From next time this high level explanation I'm going to improve, but hope at least I was able to give you something high level view of our application. Okay, thank you. Stay tuned for detailed explanations down the line. Stay tuned. Yeah, thank you so much.